Hey everyone, welcome. Today I am going live and talking about some foods that are good for your dog to eat and some foods that are not good for your dog to eat. So we're talking about human foods today. All of them are foods that I either recommend or I strongly don't recommend. So just here today because this is what happened this past week. I was on vacation. I was at my sister's house. My niece, her daughter was over with her dog. She's an adult. And we have little toddlers now, which we haven't had in our family for a long time. So the little toddler decided to share a little piece of bagel with my niece's dog. So sounds really great, but the bagel has raisins in it. So luckily I was there because I know that raisins are one of the most toxic things that a dog can eat. It actually can cause kidney failure, and a very small amount can cause major issues. So I was thinking, my gosh, I really have to make sure that I share with my community the things that are dangerous to give your dog and the things that I really recommend adding to their bowl to help make their nutrition more well-rounded. Okay. So let's jump in a little bit about how our dog's digestion works. We have a gut biome. Maybe you've heard people talking about improving your gut biome with probiotics. Well, our dogs have the exact same thing. They have a gut biome that actually dictates their immune system, how quickly they age, their health, how well they can fight off disease, all sorts of things. So we have to make sure that we're taking care of that gut biome as they grow and adding more things that can cause their gut biome to be have more beneficial bacteria and less bacteria that is not beneficial. So that's the kind of foods that we're looking at today, and some other things that help them get nutrients. So this sounds so silly, but one of the things that I think about, I have autoimmune disease. I have been through a long journey of healing my own body through all sorts of food and natural remedies and all sorts of cool things. And one of the things that I think about when I'm eating is that my body and all of our bodies can only create everything that we need to create, all of our cells, keep our brain working, all the things it has to do with the food and drink that we're putting into our body. It doesn't get anything else. That's it, just whatever we eat or drink. And once I thought about that, it really changed the way that I was eating. So now I think about that with my dogs also. So when I'm thinking about what to feed my dogs, I have my main menu, right? My main food that I feed them. I'm actually feeding my dogs Viva Raw right now, which I love. They're such a good company, and it's very similar to how a wolf would eat in the wild. So I'm loving that. But also, they need some variety, right? They need to have other things coming in. We can't feed our dogs the exact same thing for 8 years and then expect them to have this amazing gut biome that's going to fight off disease as they get older. So that's, I think, a big cause of why dogs are getting sick younger and why they're having trouble fighting off diseases. We're seeing so much more disease happening in dogs. We're seeing their lifespan being decreased. And one of the things we really want to think about, whether you have a puppy or an older dog, is to increase that gut biome. And an amazing way to do that is to add things to their diet. So you may be feeding kibble, and maybe you want to start upgrading your kibble a little bit as you go. And maybe you want to start switching over to like a lightly cooked food or a raw food, maybe as the years go by. I know some of the puppy owners, I have so many puppy owners in my community, and I know you guys are overwhelmed. So I never want to say to a puppy owner, you have to completely overhaul your puppy's diet because you're dealing with so many other things. But as you get out of those crazy puppy months and maybe a couple years, you might want to start thinking about, what can I do to increase the nutrition and to keep their gut biome really healthy? So one of the amazing things you can do is add different things to their bowl. Even if you're feeding kibble right now, you can add things to their bowl that will increase their nutrition, that will make their gut biome be more healthy, and just keep them going on that road of being a healthier dog that's going to live longer. So let's talk about a few foods that I recommend throwing in the bowl with your dog's food, whatever you are feeding them. The first one is blueberries. Blueberries are amazing. They are just as good for us as they are for our dogs. They have antioxidants, they have vitamin C, they support their immunity, and they fight inflammation. So we know that inflammation is a big issue these days with everybody. We have so many toxins around us, so many things that are causing inflammation in our bodies, in our pets' bodies. So we want to fight that inflammation in our dogs as well. And that is something that was such a light bulb moment for me, and really kind of the launching pad for dogology was realizing, as I discovered all the things that I needed to be doing to keep myself healthy, that so many of them are the same for my dogs. So that's kind of cool because we can get healthy with our dogs at the same time. So blueberries, the way that I love to feed blueberries is to get a fillable toy and put a little bit of peanut butter that's 100% peanuts, no oils or salts in there, and then put some blueberries in and then seal it off with a little more peanut butter and freeze it. Not only do they get all the benefits of those blueberries, but you get like a half an hour break if you have a young dog that's really hyper. It's a great way to teach them to self-soothe, to occupy themselves, entertain themselves, because they're going to be licking on that bone for a while and they're going to be happy. So that's a great way to get those blueberries in there. Second one is pumpkin puree. So they sell it in the cans. You don't want to get the pumpkin pie filling. It looks the same, but it's not the same. You want 100% pumpkin. And that is really good for digestion. So some of you might have heard when your dog is having stomach issues that you might want to put a little pumpkin in their food. Well, you don't have to just do it when they're having stomach issues. A little bit, even a tablespoon of pumpkin a couple times a week is going to add fiber to their diet and really help their digestion over time. So I love that one. That's another one that fills fillable toys really well and does a good job with those frozen treats. Okay, number not three. Three is carrots. And the reason I love carrots is not only are they good for their eye health and they keep their teeth clean. That's why I love them so much. They keep their teeth clean. So I just did a video last week about cleaning your dog's teeth. And one of my favorite ways is to take a carrot and just give it to your dog. Sadly, one of my dogs does not like carrots. It makes me so sad because it's like nature's toothbrush. It cleans off all the plaque off of their teeth. You can even freeze it a little if your dog tolerates the frozen carrot to actually bite into. Some dogs only like to lick cold things. I'm like that. My teeth, I can't bite into anything cold, so it makes me like cringe to think about it. But some dogs bite right into the frozen carrot and they're totally fine with it. Number 4 is a little bit of salmon. So fish is actually really good for our dogs because it has omega-3 in it, which supports their skin, their coats, and their joints. Now, you can also supplement omega-3s, which I really recommend. I think that if you're going to do 2 things to help your dog, one is probiotics. I'll talk about that in a second. The other one is omega-3. So either you can give them a little fish. A great way to do this is sardines because it's the whole fish. So they get the bones, the organs, all those things are actually really good for them. The skin, all this yucky stuff that we don't want, that's really good for them. So if you can get some sardines that have nothing in them, you don't want any like salt or flavoring or anything. I always rinse them off anyway, no matter what they're packed in, but you want them just in water. And then you can just put one in their food a couple times a week. And it is a whole animal that they're eating. It's the closest to what they'd be doing in the wild. Really good for them. So that's a great way for them to get their omega-3, or you can buy a supplement, just check the ingredients, make sure they're nice and clean, and add the omega-3 to their bowl. Amazing at fighting inflammation as well. The omega-3 is really important, especially as your dog gets older. I have an older dog. She has a little bit of arthritis, and the omega-3 oil I put in her food is a game changer. She is totally, she has stopped limping and she's a lot better. Okay, number 5 is plain yogurt, unsweetened, no xylitol. Make sure xylitol is one of our foods we're going to talk about in a second that we never want to feed our dog. So we want to keep the xylitol out of there, but plain all natural yogurt has probiotics in it, and that's going to feed their gut biome. So The other thing you can add to your dog's bowl is really any kind of meat that they like. So if you have a little bit of leftover chicken or turkey, just rinse it off, get the salt off it, get the other things off it, that any kind of flavoring that you've added to it, and put it in their bowl. I always save them a little steak when I'm eating steak. No one else in my family will do it. They eat their whole steak. And I'm like, how can you do that? You have to share it. I save just a little bit and I rinse it off and I share it with my dogs because it's really great for them to get those extra nutrients from the meat. And my last recommendation, this is a new thing that I'm doing that I'm actually doing for myself and my dogs, is I put like 12 different vegetables. Vegetables are amazing for dogs, just like they are for us. I put like 10, 12 different vegetables into a food processor and just hit the button and it mushes it all up, right? Mixes it all up. And I just give my dogs a tablespoon in their meals. That is an incredible way to increase their gut biome. So vegetables feed our gut biomes. They feed all the good bacteria in our gut, in our dog's gut. So if we're getting that little bit of a bunch of vegetables, because I know I only eat a few different vegetables over and over again, and our dogs may be getting the same food every single day. So even if you have a dog food that has some vegetables in it, they're not getting the variety. So you just throw in even scraps, leftover stuff, and you throw it in, mush it up, give them a little bit in their meals, feeds their gut biome. And maybe I put mine in ice cube trays and freeze them. I don't put any water in it. I just freeze them and then I put them in my shakes so you can get healthy with your dogs as well. Okay, so that is my recommendations of little things that you can put in your dog's bowl to make them healthier and keep building their immune system and make them feel great as they get older. Now, let's talk about some things you should never give your dogs. Now, these are important because we all occasionally will give our dogs leftovers. I feed my dogs 100% human food, so they're getting lots of stuff. So I have to know which things can go in the bowl, which things can't. So at the end, I'll give you a link. I have a list of them too that you can put on your refrigerator. I'll give it to you now. So we'll show our little link down there. So that link will take you to a little form that you fill out to get my printable list. It's 17 foods they should never eat. And I actually added some that they may or may not tolerate at the bottom. But you can get your list there. So, okay, let's talk about the most important ones. Number one is grapes and raisins. So I mentioned that at the beginning. And I was talking about how my niece's dog ate some raisins and it was a huge emergency. That is one of the biggest emergencies. Raisins are so dangerous for your dog. It's crazy. Just a little amount can cause kidney failure. So if your dog eats raisins, you want to take action immediately. That is a really serious emergency. And I'll talk in just a minute about what to do if your dog eats something they shouldn't. Number two, xylitol. I was mentioning that when I talked about the yogurt with xylitol in it, not to give them that. Xylitol actually causes them to have a severe drop in their blood sugar and liver failure. So we want to make sure that they don't get their hands on like sugar-free gum, something, or their paws on sugar-free gum. They don't break into your purse and get anything with xylitol in it. Really important. Number three is chocolate. We've probably all heard of chocolate, right? And chocolate is one of those ones. It can cause vomiting. It can cause some issues, but it has to be in a larger amount. So if you have a 90-pound dog that eats a Hershey's Kiss, you're okay. Like, don't panic. You're all right. I have had my dogs accidentally eat a little bit of chocolate. I have bigger dogs and it's fine. If they're smaller dogs, if they're puppies, you definitely want to take it more seriously. Or if you have a bigger dog that eats a larger amount, you definitely want to make sure and bring them to the vet and just make sure they're okay. Okay, number four, this one you might not have heard of, macadamia nuts. They can eat walnuts, they can eat peanuts, they can eat all sorts of other nuts and seeds. It's actually really good for them. But macadamia nuts, even a few can cause vomiting and a whole bunch can cause paralysis and even death. So macadamia nuts, lock them up. I eat them all the time. So I'm always really careful. Even if I drop one on the floor, I make sure I go and grab it right away so my dogs don't eat them. Okay, number 5 is onions, garlics, leeks, and chives. So those are the only vegetables that your dog can't eat. When I was talking about putting your vegetable mix together and for their gut biome, just make sure no onions, garlics, leeks, or chives. I couldn't think of the fourth one. And also, I don't do mushrooms just because they can do, like, some are good and some are dangerous, and it's just not worth it. Like, don't risk it with the mushrooms. So I just stay away from those 4 things, and then the mushrooms as well when I make my mixture of my vegetables. So the onions and garlic, that kind of stuff, they can cause anemia. So it affects their red blood cells. So we don't want to mess with that. Okay. Number 6 is avocado. So some dogs do okay with avocado. It's kind of not worth risking it because it can cause vomiting and diarrhea for dogs that are sensitive. And it's just like an iffy food. So I would say skip it. There's so many other foods that they can eat. Okay, so if your dog eats something that they shouldn't eat, let's say they have some raisins, there is a technique to get them to throw up that I've used a few times. So hydrogen peroxide causes vomiting. So what I do is I take like a turkey baster, I put a little bit of hydrogen peroxide and I squirt it into their mouth and they swallow it, and immediately they're going to throw up. So you want to do it in the yard or somewhere where you're okay with them throwing up. And they'll throw up several times. If you have an emergency, then that is something that you can do right away instead of driving 25 minutes to the vet or to a clinic. If you're dealing with something like raisins, that is very dangerous. Now, I was also with my niece recently, and her dog loves to scarf up everything. So the dog scarfed up just a very thin piece of watermelon rind. And she was so worried because the raisin thing was so dramatic that she was like, oh no, she ate the watermelon rind. But it was like this thin. And I was saying to her, she was like, where's the hydrogen peroxide? And I was like, okay, so let's think about this. The watermelon rind is hard, right? So coming back up, it might cause more damage than it would for her stomach to just digest it. So we held off in that situation. And it's in the end, it's a fruit. Her stomach, dog stomachs are very acidic. They can digest bone. So they do fine with a watermelon rind. So that was fine. So you have to think for a second, like, wait, is this something that's going to cause more damage coming up than it is in their body? And then make a decision. Always good to call a vet. Always good to get another opinion in these situations as well. Just wanted to give you a technique in case you have an emergency situation. Okay, so that is my list. Like I said, you can grab my printable list of 17 things that they shouldn't eat. I just covered the most severe ones today. There are other things that they shouldn't have. You can just grab that at dogologypro.com/17 things. And then you can print it out, put it on your refrigerator, and then everyone in your family is on the same page so that if you have kids around the house or whoever is living with you, they won't just give the dog something by accident. And everybody will know the safe foods and the things that they shouldn't be feeding your dog. And go ahead and try some of those things I recommended in the beginning of putting the blueberries or some pumpkin or yogurt or some that vegetable mix. I'm so into that right now. Into their bowl. That will really help them over time. All right, guys, I hope this was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions. You can just pop them in the comments and I'll check back later to answer them for you. And go ahead and grab your guide. And also let me know what else you want to learn about. If you have something else that you'd like me to talk about, just pop it in the comments. All right, guys, hope you're having a great day. I'll talk to you soon, and I'll be live again next week at 1 o'clock on Thursday. All right, see you then. Bye.